Hello, good morning. How are you? It's so hot here in Kent again, and I'm wilting a little bit. I feel a bit bedraggled, but never mind. My boys are loving it, so I mustn't complain too much. Thank you so much for joining me, Poppy Mac, at my new channel. And I'm going to be talking about all things weight and being a carer and guarding my mental health through that sort of thing. And yeah, just generally getting stronger and fitter. So if you're up for that, do come along for the ride, and please comment. And yeah, so first up, my weight. My weigh day is a Sunday. It's been a Sunday since I began on the 19th of October 2024, and I have stuck with the Sunday. I do hop on and off the scales from time to time through the week, not every week, but sometimes out of curiosity. But I only ever record my Sunday weight. So I got on Sunday and nothing, zilch, nada, not a gram, not an ounce had I lost. And I have my excuses at the ready, and I'll get to those in a minute. So I did take my eye off the ball this week. I hadn't recorded my calories quite as diligently as I should have done, and I haven't exercised because it's just been too jolly hot, and oh my goodness, I just didn't feel like it. So anyway, I've invested in some super duper new fans that are very noisy and very powerful, and I will be getting back to my exercise because they arrived this morning, so I should be working out in front of the fans in the morning. And I'm actually quite looking forward to getting back to it because I do think it's very good for me, and it helps me to stay a bit more focused. And yeah, so in the past this would have been, I'm a failure, I've blown it, and just sort of given into continued self-sabotage until I'd really made a mess of things. However, I'm not doing that. I've put the brakes on. I've looked at what the week had going on and why I dropped the ball, and I am back on it. I've been recording my calories properly for the last few days and staying on track, and as I say, I should be getting back to my exercise in front of my lovely new super noisy fans in the morning. So fingers crossed, although it's not long till Sunday now, so I don't imagine there'll be anything drastic going on this week, but hopefully that will get the pattern going again. So yeah, what blew me off track this week? Well, Shay had to have a blood test, so we did that Monday. Shay is severely autistic with complex learning disabilities. He's non-verbal and he's registered blind. So it was a big challenge for him. It was very, very difficult. We have tried a couple of times already and we didn't get very far. We'd get there and he'd wiggle and make a fuss, as you would if you didn't understand what was going on and couldn't see what was going on. And the nurses backed off and said, no, this isn't going to be safe. So this time we went to the hospital and they were fairly confident they were going to manage to do it. I was less sure, I have to admit, but we went. We did try lots of prep with him to try and get him ready for it. And we did try and use some Emla cream on him, but he was having none of that. He didn't like the feel of that. It was too icky, and no. So we went. There was me. I go to all my boys' appointments, and there were 3 support staff from the unit that he lives in. And I went across to the unit and jumped in their car, and we all went together. And in we go, and we got Shay seated in the waiting room, and when we were called, took him in, sat him in the big chair, and then the guys that were with us supported him, held his arm firm and steady so he couldn't do anything that would cause himself any injury, and the nurses put the tourniquet on, and we were all talking to him, telling him what a big boy he was and how brave he was. And then the needle went in and he screamed, and of course you would, wouldn't you, if you weren't ready for that. And we kept telling him how super he was, what a big brave boy. And I reached around the nursing staff and the support staff, who I usually call the grown-ups, and I posted a little piece of chocolate into his mouth. and that was okay. He ate that. That wasn't too bad. And I reached around and I posted another little piece of chocolate into his mouth, and he ate that. And they carried on doing the test. And when they had finished, I asked the nursing staff if they would just step out for a minute or two, give us the room so he could just level off before he felt the need to leap up and down and wave his arms around, because we didn't want any accidents having got that far. And he was calm enough. I handed him his little bag of chocolates that he'd been eating, and he ate those quite happily. And then he was ready to go. He was indicating car and home. So we gathered him up, thanked everybody, and set off back to the car. And on our way out, we bumped into a learning disabilities nurse who'd come to support us. Bearing in mind, we did have an appointment time and we got there dead on, and we'd been waiting in the waiting room, and then we'd had it done, and he'd sat for a couple of minutes after. So she'd come to support us when it was all over. Hey ho. However, we've been going to that hospital for 22 and a half years since my babies were born, 10 weeks prem. And after many, many attempts, we have never encountered a learning disabilities nurse. So, wow. So I had a little chat with her, and I have her contact details and her colleague. There are apparently now 2 learning disabilities nurses at that hospital. And should we need to go back for Shay or for Ryan, we can get in touch and liaise and make plans and hopefully clear the way for smooth appointments. One can only hope. So that was, yeah, better late than never, I say. Bring it on. So that was Shay's blood test, and it was okay. He did really, really well. I'm super, super proud of him. I'm so grateful to the staff who came with him and the nurses, who all stayed lovely and calm. And yeah, the staff where he lives are always amazing, and they rise to whatever we need and are there to support. So yeah, so that was that. And then on Thursday, I had a 3.5-hour appointment. I'd had an urgent suspected cancer referral to the breast unit. So that was Thursday. Super impressed. I went to see my GP, and 13 days later, I'm in the unit, saw a consultant, was examined, had a mammogram, which was checked while I waited, had an ultrasound, which was checked as it was done, and was given the all clear. Everything is fine. I'm, nothing to worry about. The changes were due to my weight loss and hormonal changes post-menopause, and post-weight loss, everything changes. So, yes, do you want to see the consultant again? No. Are you absolutely certain everything's fine? Yes, we're certain. No, I don't need to see him again. And I've practically skipped out of there, just thrilled to pieces, I can't tell you. And I thought, while I'm here, I'll pop in and get my x-ray done that I've been carrying the form around for a week. And oh my goodness, the x-ray department waiting room was absolutely rammed, full to the gills, standing room only. And I thought, I've already been here for 3.5 hours and I've been fairly well poked and prodded around. I think I'll go and have a cup of coffee and come back another day. So I came home and I went back the following morning at 8 o'clock as they were opening, and there were already 9 people in front of me. Go figure. However, that was done really quickly, and yeah, I was back home by 9 o'clock, so I can't complain about that. And then Friday, this coming Friday, Ryan needs a blood test. So we're really getting our money's worth out of the NHS this week. It's just, yeah. So that will be very different because he's had them before. He has a little bit more understanding. He can see what's happening. And yeah, he has them fairly regularly because of the medication that he's taking. We need to keep an eye on different levels of various things. So he chooses where we go. We always go to the same place. And I let him book it this time on my phone. He booked the time that he wanted and the day that he wanted. and the ladies there know him. He's a bit of a celebrity when we walk in, and he'll talk them through what they need to do. So you'll put the tourniquet on, and then you'll put the needle in my arm. And he's really brave. He'll just watch. I mean, I couldn't do that, but he will watch them draw the blood. I mean, I chickened out of GLP ones because I was too scared to give myself an injection. It's I so wanted to. I can't tell you. I so wanted to, but I knew I couldn't inject myself, and I couldn't really afford it. So, but hats off to anyone and everyone who is doing that. I have nothing but admiration for anyone who can give themselves that injection and use that tool. It's an amazing tool, and I would definitely have jumped on board if I thought I could afford it and actually do it. So that's what our week has been and is continuing to be, making the most of the NHS, bless them. So next week's going to be a bit calmer, I think. We've got a memory cafe to go to for my mum. She's been very muddly, bless her. But yeah, a couple of times she's been asking where my dad is and why she hasn't seen him, and I've had to remind her that he died in 2007 and that she had nursed him the whole way through his illness. He had lung cancer and she cared for him. He was home right till the very end, as he wanted to be. And yeah, so that was really hard for her to have to hear. And then yesterday morning, she was asking me about my brother and where he was, and I had to tell her that he had died when he was 18, mountaineering with his university, and the temperature had dropped and dropped and dropped, and unfortunately he had died on the mountain of exposure. And that, telling her that was heartbreaking. And we've been here before, and tends to go in cycles of it, so I'm expecting it again probably over the next few days, but it will subside again. And I suspect the heat and not sleeping well because of that probably doesn't help. So going forward, I'm looking at mini targets. I have a DEXA scan booked in 4 weeks' time. It will be my third. I had one in December and I had one in May, and they were fascinating. It was really, really interesting to see what was going on under the bonnet. I wish I'd had one done at the start when I was 250 pounds, but I wasn't brave enough. So the last one showed that between them I had lost 15 pounds of fat and gained a pound of muscle, with an overall loss of 14 pounds, not a pound. That would have been sad, wouldn't it? An overall loss of 14 pounds and all of it fat, which delighted me. So I'm hopefully going to repeat that. That's my target for the next 14 weeks. I'd like to repeat that if I can. I'm going to try and figure out this week how I can share those DEXAs with you, because I don't yet know how to drop things into my videos, but that's my plan, because we have a slightly quieter, calmer week this week. I've got a couple of meetings, but I should have time around those to try and learn a bit more. I might even learn to edit. You never know, and unless you don't mind my glitches that I live in. So anyway, yeah, it's been a busy week with the NHS, and yeah, but I'm back on track going forward. Calorie tracking using the NutriCheck app, back on the scales. I use Renfo, and I'll try and work out how to share the Renfo with you as well. They're not as accurate as the DEXA, but they're a lovely guide to keep you on track. So yeah, that's us for the last week, and I hope you have a fabulous week, and I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for being with me. Please subscribe, please like, please comment, and take good care. Bye bye.